So we're back on Humbabe. This is going to be episode 5. And unfortunately, actually, let me restart. I'm Sam.
I'm Alex.
And so unfortunately, we have no special guest for you this week. But you should still be buckled up, ready to go, because we're going to have a fiery AL West outlook today. But before we can get to that, Alex, what do we have for news of the week?
So we got Michael Wacha signing. We got some injury news coming out of camp. We got Montas and DeGrom both crippled and hurt. And then we got Mr. Corbin Burns angry at the Brewers org for ripping him off for $750K. Bad stuff. Tensions boiling in the Brewers org. All right.
Where are we starting?
You want to start with Michael Wacha?
We can start with Michael Wacha. So what do you got on Michael Wacha? We know last year he had a terrific season. He had a good season. He had a pretty good season last year.
It was good.
It was good. So really late in the offseason to sign. When he does sign, he goes to the Padres, and I have no idea how to. I know it's a 4-year deal. Alex can tell you about it. I really have no idea how it works. But
it's like a
the Padres are getting.
So it's a 4-year deal at the moment for $26 million. But after this year, the Padres have a choice to pick up club options for 2024 and 2025 for $16 million each. But if they decline it, 2024, 2025, and 2026 becomes a $6.5 million player option for the next 3 years. So whatever happens to Michael Wacha, he's guaranteed $26 million from the Padres. And like you said, Sam, solid year from Wacha last year. Peripherals aren't that bad. 4.07 Sierra, 1.5 F4. Not a K artist, has never been his whole career. Doesn't walk too many people. He's just a solid pitcher, but I mean, he's Michael Wacha. He's a depth signing. I don't think too much to say. I feel like this is a deal that could backfire, but I mean, you're not paying him that much where it can be like an albatross or bloated contract.
I mean, it is a little bit overpay. Michael Wacha he'll be steady, he'll be steady, but it's a bit of an overpay. I don't mind it. Good for Michael Wacha, good to get signed. But we look before last season, really not terrific. He hasn't been very good besides last season for a few seasons before that. So, I'm not extremely confident in getting a lot out of him, and especially with this 4-year deal. But, we'll see. It's a depth signing, like you said. And if there's injuries in the Padres starting rotation, we could see what Michael Wacha, and he'll have to throw big innings. So, totally fine.
Moving on, we got some injuries out of spring training camp. Everyone's reporting at this time. We found out a couple of days ago, Yankees starting pitcher Frankie Montas out for the year, most likely. Just a blow to the rotation. He was already set to miss the month, but for him to miss a year after him being a big deadline acquisition last year, the stinger for my Yankees, and it's one of my concerns for that team. Injuries, man. Injuries. Sam, what do you think?
Yeah, this sucks. Shoulder surgery for Montas. And it just brings me back to that last offseason deadline where Brian Cashman, this is another, I just don't like what Brian Cashman's done the past 2 seasons. You have the choice, spend the extra prospect or two, go get Luis Castillo, even though it's going to cost more. They went with Montas, and it's been kind of a disaster. Luis Castillo's that guy. Montas, comes over, really not very good, injured, and again, we'll miss probably most of the season, or all the season this year. And really, that's unfortunate, So they're going to have to rely on that depth, which they don't really have much. It's going to be Domingo Germán. I don't like Domingo Germán. I don't think he's very good, but they're going to have to rely on him for the full season because of this. And then if there's more injuries, you're going further down the line with Clark Schmidt and Davy Garcia. Like we said, this could get ugly for the Yankees, and it's rough to see early in the season.
Back-to-back years, Brian Cashman has had a disaster class of a trade deadline. First, Joey Gallo. Now Frankie Montas. I mean, you can't predict injuries.
F. Frost was a bad deal. F. Frost was bad.
No, it wasn't. He got hurt. You can't
deal. I hate that deal.
He was good. you can't predict Tommy John though. But like with Montage, he has some issues.
Even if healthy, I don't like it. I like Wozniacki too much over. They're too similar too. Throw Wozniacki in there. He's good. Efros is coming out there. He looked totally shaken in New York. So that's a side point, but not a big fan of Efros, even though he is an IU guy.
But yeah, I like Efros, but well, that's for another time. Montage, disaster trade. We gave up Waldichuk, Sears, Cooper Bowman, and I'm pretty sure someone else. I'm forgetting. Oh, Luis Medina. Just a bad deal. It's unfortunate. Now I think Schmidt's gonna get the chance, not Herman. But like Clark Schmidt's your fifth starter. I mean, we'll see what he can do, but not too hopeful about that. And next DeGrom, he's back throwing. It's not that much of a news, but like we had to throw in DeGrom for some clickbait, But DeGrom, it's never good for you to be sidelined the first day you report to camp. So
You told DeGrom, we know, unbelievable pitcher, but he's made out of glass the past few seasons like this. And normally, any pitcher, you see, he's got some minor little tweak. He tweaked his side, spring training. You're like, all right, fine. Like they're saying it's just a minor thing. He'll be fine. With DeGrom, it's always going to raise your concern. This has happened year after year. We see, it's just a minor thing. His lat, his whatever it is, his back, and it becomes a big thing down the season. This Rangers team is really reliant on DeGrom, I feel like, if they're going to have a good year. Especially with his injury concerns in the recent seasons, this does concern me. I know he's back throwing, but I would keep an eye on it. If I'm a Rangers fan, I'm a little nervous.
DeGrom, best pitcher in baseball and healthy, but obviously, like you say, he's made of glass. Not a good start, but he's throwing again, so hopefully it's just a little blip in what can be a Cy Young campaign for him, and that means I would be right. But I hope he does well and stays healthy. But yeah, you shake up DeGrom. I just don't want to see him hurt. He's so good. He's a generational pitcher. He's the best pitcher I've ever seen in my lifetime. So, and that's, I'm sure most people my age will agree with that statement. So I hope, cheers to a healthy season for Jacob DeGrom. What's next, Sam?
Well, now we're going to talk about Corbin Burnes, and I am really furious. This is a disaster with Corbin Burnes. I feel like this gets me just insanely upset. If I'm a Brewer, what are we doing, Milwaukee Brewers? What are we doing? We have Corbin, and this goes for a lot of MLB teams, not just the Brewers, but this is even nearly brought to the light with the Brewers. These teams go to arbitration hearings with with a lot of players, but a lot of them, they're star players. Corbin Burnes is a star player. He's the best player on their team. We already said he's a top 3 pitcher in baseball. They're going to this case with a difference of $750,000 to make your star pitcher. Are you kidding me? It doesn't matter. Are you kidding me? How stupid is stupid? Milwaukee Brewers, they didn't give it to him. In the hearing, they're saying negative stuff about their star player. They're saying, you're the reason we didn't make the playoffs. You're this, you're that. And then we see afterward, it hurt Corbin Burnes. It hurt him. He didn't like that. He talked to the media about it. He brought it out in the open. This pissed off your ace, your guy, and now there's bad blood there. And I would be shocked if the Brewers did not trade Corbin Burnes, which I already thought they were going to do. So this just makes it even worse. Really terrible job by the Brewers.
Arbitration, man. I don't know why baseball still does it. There's no good sides with arbitration besides saving money. But like, it's $750K over your star player. You'd rather piss off your star player than paying $750K. Like the Brewers. If you're a Brewers fan, I feel bad. You have a cheap ass owner. Like, it's ridiculous. Now he's gonna get traded, and if he does it, he's not gonna re-sign with you guys. Like, was it worth it? Was it worth it for $750K? All the fans would say no, but I mean, disaster. I feel bad. I feel bad for Burnes and Brewers fans. How much is contract
already? Another $750K?
It's a bargain. It's a bargain. I'll search it right now. He's in arbitration. He'll make like right now probably $11 million right now. Like,
and if he was a free agent, how much are you paying him then? Come on,
you pay him $200 minimum.
Easy.
250 minimum.
Come on. This is a disaster by the Brewers, and
He's making $10 million this year. He's making $10 million this year.
yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
instead of 10, 7.5, 750. Ridiculous by the Brewers. Pisses me off.
Hey, there's our news of the week. Let's go on with our division. For the ALS, our predictions and breakdown for each team. Let's start with the Los Angeles Angels. A big year for them. Shohei Ohtani's last year before free agency. What are your thoughts on them, Sam?
So the Angels went out and had another Angel-like offseason to me, where they didn't really get the star pitcher in particular that I feel like they needed. They get Tyler Anderson. They had Gio Urshela, Hunter Renfroe, Brandon Drury. And, these moves, they're decent. They're adding some decent players. But for me, they're not adding the pitcher I feel like they need, which upsets me because it's been the same story year after year after year for the Angels. Let's look at what the hopes are for this season. And it's that, like you said, Ohtani's last year. There's a lot of importance for this season. This season, Trout, Ohtani, this is the year to get it done. Otherwise, really, what are you left with? So offense last year, they were 11th in home runs. So they fine, but it's really reliant on Trout and Ohtani. Rendon injured. This is an injury. Rodon out. He's back this season, but I would really be concerned because Trout with his back, Rendon really injury prone past couple seasons. So I'm really reliant on one player. If Ohtani gets hurt, you lose your ace, you lose your best hitter, or Trout, so you lose your second best hitter. So there's a lot that could be really good for the Angels this year, but I'm really not very confident in them because of all the injuries, all the letdown, and all these, past 7-8 seasons of letdown for the Angels. New pieces, Urshela, he's decent. Renfroe hits the ball hard, 76% on barrel rate. 492 slug, that's good. Drury, same, 492 slug. But, I hope they can get enough outside of Trout and Ohtani. That's going to be the difference. And, of course, the pitching. So I'll let you say something.
Like you said, they didn't get the star player. Like, I would like to see them get Rodon during the offseason. They got Tyler Anderson. He was very good last year in the Dodgers pitching lab. Can he repeat again? I don't know. But I like the moves they made on offense. Like, Renfroe had a really good season again last year. Urshela, like you said, Rendon is injury prone. But when healthy, Rendon is still a very good player. But when he's not, Urshela can step up as his backup. Or Urshela can start as short, which I think he should over Rengifo, who had a solid year as well. Drury had a really good year in 2022. I think he can repeat it. His metrics back it up. He hits the ball hard. He hits in the air. Jared Walsh, a down year, but he still hits the ball hard. I think he's in for a bounce back year. Catching, at the catching position, they upgraded last year by trading for Logan O'Hoppe.
Definitely.
He's going to be...
I love him. Very good player.
He's a good player. He's going to be the starting catcher probably, but Stassi is still a solid catcher in case O'Hoppe isn't that good right away. Taylor Ward, elite hitter. I'm going to say it right now. Taylor Ward is an elite hitter in my opinion. And like you said, they got Trout and Ohtani, the two top 5 players in the game. They know it's a make or break year. They're going to do everything they can to make it to the playoffs at the very minimum. And starting rotation, it's really good. Ohtani and Ace, Anderson, probably number 3, Anderson, Sandoval. Sandoval was very good last year, 3.8 F4, 2.91 ERA. Reed Detmers, one of my favorite pitchers in baseball. I met him in real life. Shout out to him. Very good second half. He made an Arsenal change once he got sent down to AAA. And from then on, he pitched like an ace. He was an ace. And I think he can repeat it again because it was an Arsenal change. It wasn't like he got lucky all of a sudden. He actually did something to improve his game. And Jose Suarez, another solid starter. Maybe no depth behind those 5. But like Tucker Davison, Griffin Canning, not that good. I would like to see him add one more starter. I'm probably most concerned about their bullpen. It's not a very good bullpen. Like, Tepera and Hurriet is solid. Estevez is Matt Moore, good year last year. Can you do it again? Probably not. Aaron Loop, not exciting. But no, Iglesias on the Braves.
Oh, yeah. My bad.
He got traded last year.
Yes.
So Angels did make some good moves. I would have liked them. I would have liked them to, like you said, see them make like a star move, but they made solid moves, so it's not too bad of an off season for them.
Well, like you said, I'm not going to call Ward an elite hitter yet, but definitely very good. 473 slug. Of course, Shout Ohtani. You can get if Rodon stays healthy, that's really good. Walsh. Hope. Did I say that? I keep mispronouncing. Hop. I gotta say it right now. Hop. Whatever. But to my surprise, last season, the Angels starting pitching pitched to a 9th best ERA. 3.
That's very good. It was very good. I like their side pitching.
6th best starter ERA. 3.67. But, I look at the people in the starting rotation, and I'm looking, can they repeat performance? And I'm not extremely confident. So, of course, Ohtani, he's more than an ace. I'm not even going to get into Ohtani. He's just elite. You said Lee Detmers, he said, like you said, sent out, come back, made an arsenal change. But, I don't know if he can, if he's, is Tyler Anderson the 2 or is he the 2? I don't know if he can be the 2. 4.05
Anderson probably right now.
4.05 xERA, but he gave up some hard contact. The fastball played at the end of the season, which I like, but I'm not really confident in him. Sandoval 2.9 ERA last year. That's really good, but wasn't a fluke. He wasn't really able to force speed contact very much. He has a bit of a walk problem, so I'm not really sure if he can repeat performance. And then Tyler Anderson, of course, Dodgers pitchers. Anderson, they come to the Dodgers suddenly. They're just ridiculously good, but can he repeat it? Not as a Dodger. The 2.57 ERA last year, and he was only 91 in his velo. So he's getting guys out with low velo, which you like to see. That's really pitching. He's a pitcher. He doesn't really K guys. But what I like to see, this gives me confidence in Anderson, is that he was 95th percentile in chase rate, 98th percentile in average exit velo again. So he's forcing weak contact. But again, with only throwing 91, is he going to really be able to repeat that outside of LA? Because I don't know what LA does that makes pitchers really good. And he hasn't nearly been as good in previous seasons other than last year, which, of course, gives me concern. It makes me pause. Is he really the pitcher he was last year? And then Jose Suarez, mid. So you're looking at those 5. Maybe if Tyler Anderson can repeat, you're looking at a strong 1-2. But, the back end of that rotation is a concern for me. And you said the bullpen, 4th worst bullpen, FIP, 4.31. No more Iglesias. There's really no guy in the bullpen that's really your guy to go. You need this inning, 8th inning, 9th inning, whatever it is. Got to get this inning, clean inning. There's not really that guy that gets you that. So, man, the Angels, I'd love to see him make the postseason for Trout, but it's hard to see it for me. Hard to see a good season here.
We'll get more into our predictions for the Angels later, but let's move on with the world champions, Houston Astros. Congrats to them. They're an awesome team. I would call them a dynasty. What do you think, Sam?
Well, it was a dynasty.
Astros.
6 straight ALCSs, is that right? I think that's right.
Yep, it's 6 straight.
That is a dynasty. That is terrific job, Astros, especially front office, GM. That's what gets that type of stuff done. So we look at, what are you going to say about this team? This team is insane. And so we're looking, who do they lose? They lost Justin Verlander. Who'd they add? Abreu. Obviously different position, but you're making up for that. And then the pitching-wise and losing Verlander, they're making up for it in a rookie in Hunter Brown, who I want to call Verlander 2.0. If you look at his mechanics, basically the same guy, hard thrower, and he's probably the 5th guy in that rotation. Think about this rotation. You're looking at Framber Valdez, 2.8 ERA last year. He's a ground ball machine. 67% ground ball. That is insane.
Framber Valdez.
Insane.
I love him.
Luis Garcia, 3.7 ERA. Fine. Holding it down. He's abandoning the rock the baby delivery, so I'm excited to see how that plays this season. Lance McCullers, 2.2 ERA. I know it was a small sample size. Elite curveball. He's holding it down. He's a terrific underrated pitcher. Of course, we talked about him last time. Christian Javier, 2.5 ERA. High spin rate guy, riding that fastball up in the zone. It plays. Hitters only hit 180 off of it. Come on now. And then Hunter Brown is your 5th guy, throwing 97 plus. Next to Verlander, in my opinion. Maybe not as good as Verlander, but he's that next guy. That's your 5-man rotation. Come on now. That is insane. And all those guys, other than Hunter Brown, are doing it throwing 94 about 90. They're not hard throwers. They're just getting outs. They're really pitchers. You like to see that. They had the second best team ERA as a whole is 2.9, and they're doing it with a large starting pitching sample size. 950 starting pitching innings, by far the most in the league. They get their wins through their starters. 45 total wins as their starters from 84 total. 45 wins over 500 as a starting rotation group. 84 total starting pitching wins. And for reference, we talk about the Rays' dominant pitching. The Rays had the least starting pitching innings, so they're bullpen heavy. The Rays had the third best starter ERA, which is dominant, but only 43 total starter wins compared to the Astros' 84. And the Rays get the most reliever innings. Of course, if you balance it out, Astros most starting pitching innings, the Astros the least relieving pitching innings, which I found to be interesting.
You forgot about the offense. The offense is still insane.
Yeah, of course. I was gonna. I'll let you take. After you're done. I'll talk about the offense, but I didn't want to go on too long.
All right, you're done. Top 5 hitter. Chas McCormick, league average bat with very good center field defense. Kyle Tucker, one of my favorite players in baseball, does everything right. Runs the base well. Elite defender. Elite hitter. Jeremy Pena, overrated in my opinion. People are gonna overrate him. But he's still a league average bat and plays an elite defense at short. Altuve, Hall of Fame second baseman, still pumping it out. Let me check. Altuve, I'm pretty sure that's right. Altuve had a 164 WRC plus last year. Incredible. So underrated. It was so underrated. He's so good, Jose Altuve. Alex Bregman, another phenomenal year from him. He'll never hit 40 bombs like he did in 2019. But still, 136 WRC plus 2022. Amazing stuff. 5.5 F4 for Bregman. And then you lost Yuli Gurriel and Trey Mancini combined. Both of them were they were below replacement level. And you add in with Jose Abreu, one of the best first basemen in baseball, to replace Gurriel and Mancini. It's amazing stuff. They upgraded their offense, and they brought back Brantley too. So underrated. He's the definition of a professional hitter. Doesn't strike out much, puts the ball in play, and he'll start a good WRC plus. Catcher is a black hole, but Maldonado, he's in there because pitchers love throwing to him, so it's not concerned. And like you said, the starting rotation: Valdez, Javier, Garcia, McCullers, Hunter Brown. Urquidy's your 6th starter. That's insane. And then the bullpen. They were historically dominant in the postseason last year, and they were amazing. They were second best bullpen in baseball in 2022. Presley, Montero, Abreu, Neris, Stanek, Maton. They have so many good arms out there. I wouldn't be surprised if they went for a repeat. This team is stacked, and this is considering they lost Springer and Correa a couple years ago, and Garrett Cole. They are a dynasty. What a team!
For this team, you nailed the offense. That is exactly where's the resting spot in this offense. This offense is ridiculous.
Maldonado, but that's it.
That's fine. But even Maldonado, fine, he's your catcher, but he's manning that rotation. He is underrated in his ability to really staff that pitching. And then you're looking at this offense. So you're saying, how good is this offense? And then you're looking at the strikeouts. Sometimes we get these really good offenses, but they strike out a lot, like the Yankees kind of. Second lowest K rate, only 19.4%. This team is putting them and being elite power-wise. 5th highest slug. Come on now. Jordan, 613 slug. This team is stacked. It's unbelievable. And then you were talking about the bullpen. They have the lowest FIP, 3.05. Best bullpen ERA. And then you name them: Montero, Stanek, Presley, Paredes. Paredes is really good. And then Abreu. These guys are ridiculously good.
No, the Astros, no holes in their lineup besides Maldonado. I still can't believe they got Brantley back on a 1-year, $12 million deal. I know he was hurt last year, but in 64 games, he put up a 1.2 F4, 127 WRC plus. And he doesn't strike out. Jordan, he's a power machine, doesn't strike out. No one strikes out on his team besides Pena and McCormick. It's amazing. I don't know how they do it. And they lost Verlander, and their rotation is still top 5. It's amazing.
They're the definition of filling the hole. They always have someone to fill the hole and step up and be very good. Pena was when Correa left. I expect the same out of Hunter Brown. These guys, it's the credit to the Astros and credit to the GM and front office. It's a masterclass.
They actually fired their GM after the World Series, actually.
That's actually true. That is true.
Yeah. But that's because the owner hates him or something like that, not because of his performance. Yeah, Astros, like, we don't even need to talk about it later, but, like, they're the favorites for the AL West, and we're both going to predict them to win the AL West again, so. Moving on to the next team, we got...
the easiest division to predict the winner.
Yeah. Moving on to the next team, we have a team that is the complete opposite of the Houston Astros. We got the Oakland Athletics. Oh my God, I don't even know where to start. You can start, Sam.
So yeah, we all know the Oakland Athletics are going to have a really rough year. This is going to be bad. But if I'm an Oakland A's fan, I know this is coming. This isn't going to surprise. I'm not expecting a good year. So if we're going to look on the bright side, there's a lot of young talent on this team that will develop that I think is promising, that if you're watching the A's as a fan, you should be happy to look at, be excited about. And what I'm talking about is Estevy Ruiz. He's going to steal a lot of bases. It'll be exciting to watch. Shea Langoliers, I think he's a core catcher. He's going to be a catcher of your team. I like the offensive potential. Played well. You always need a catcher to man down the team. And then Seth Brown had a good season, so you're looking at Seth Brown. And then you traded for last year with the Yankees. Talked about it before. Waldenchuk, Sears. I know probably Sears may not be in the starting rotation, but Waldenchuk. And then you traded for Kyle Muller. So got some quality young pieces to build around. Not enough to be competitive at all, but it's exciting to see. But then, of course, we're going to talk about how bad this team is. And so last year, they were 27th home runs. They had the lowest team on base, 281. Second worst team slugging. They had an 84 team weighted runs created plus, 29th in hard hit rate. No one other than Brown and Langoliers, who didn't play very much. Langoliers only got called up late in the year. Slugged about 400. This team is terrible. Laureano, he's known for his arm. Terrible offensive player. And then they added some guys just to fill the lineup. They added Jesus Aguilar, who had a bad season last year. Manny Pena, Jace Peterson, Aledmys Diaz. And then they traded for JJ Bleday, who's going to have an opportunity. But none of those guys were very good offensively. They're just there to fill the lineup. And then you look at the pitching, just as bad. Sixth worst ERA, 4.54. They had the highest bail rate against. And then you look in the starting rotation. I don't even know a few of these guys that are projected to be in the starting rotation. It's going to be Blackburn, Caprillion, Waldenchuk. And then you're looking at Fujinami, who they got from Japan, and Rukinski, who they got from the KBO. So, this is going to be really bad. Blackburn, 4.2 ERA last season. Caprillion, 4.2 ERA last season. This stuff is terrible. Can't generate swing and miss. Waldenchuk, I have hopes for, but 4.9 ERA last season. He's going to have to figure it out. He's going to have to be a little more competitive in the zone. And then Fujinami, I really don't know very much about. It says he throws 96 plus, but major walk problems, I've heard. And I don't know how it's going to translate back in the MLB. And then Rukinski, no, you don't know. Vile was up, I've heard, from 91 to 93. Starting to ride that fastball up in the zone, four-seamer. But again, you're not expecting much out of it. He's going to be that fourth, fifth guy. This is going to be a disaster out of the A's, and the bullpen's not any better. 8th worst FIP. They traded away Puck, so really bad here for the A's.
No, I don't even want to talk about this team. This team is so garbage, so bad. Worst team in baseball, in my opinion. You traded your best player, Sean Murphy, in the offseason. 5.1 F4, top 5 catcher, elite defender, and elite hitter for someone at the catching position. You have one above-average hitter projected in this lineup, which is Seth Brown. Everyone else is trash. JJ Bleday, you're garbage. Estevy Ruiz, you're fast and plays good defense. You can't hit. Laureano, you can't hit. Tony Kemp, you can't hit. Nick Allen, you can't hit. Chase Peterson, you can't hit. Shea Langoliers, top prospect, guys, show me that you can hit, but you can't hit at the moment. Jesus Aguilar, you cannot hit. All these guys cannot hit besides Seth Brown. It's a terrible team. And then your ace is Paul Blackburn. Paul Blackburn is your ace. Are you kidding me? What's going on here? What's happening here? Caprillion, waste of breath. Don't want to talk about him. Rusinski, I mean, he'll eat innings. Like, he threw a bunch of innings in the KBO. Like, sure. Fujinami, Sure, Waldachuk, top prospect. I actually like Waldachuk. I think he's gonna be good this year. He'll probably be their ace. Kyle Muller also I like. JP Sears, not so much. And then the bullpen, you have one MLB reliever, Trevor May. He doesn't even play baseball.
He's not even very good. He's not even very good.
He's an MLB reliever though. He doesn't even care about baseball. He only plays Fortnite. Like this team doesn't even have major leaguers in
It's a joke, man.
They don't even have they don't have major leaguers on their team. Like, and even their minor leaguers aren't even top prospects besides Langoliers and Waldachuk. Over 100 losses for this team. Nothing to talk about.
Yes, over 100 losses for this team.
But Esteury Ruiz, one of my under radar players. Pretty sure I predicted him. I predicted him as a dark horse.
No,
like he was on that shit.
You just said prospect to look out for.
Yeah, he's a prospect to look out for because if he can get on base enough, he's gonna steal so many bases with his speed and the larger and the bigger bases. And he's gonna probably go center field. And you got Christian Pache too, another top 10 prospect. He's ass. Can't even hit the ball. Yes, he cannot hit a ball. He cannot hit a ball at all. Yeah,
the Braves dumped him off.
Not much to like about. Oh my God, Oakland. Wow, I feel bad for A's fans if there are any. I feel bad.
So we going Mariners?
Yeah, let's go Mariners next. That was
you want to start on the Mariners?
Okay. Mariners 90 wins last year, broke their playoff drought. I'm pretty sure 21 years, which was the largest or longest all four major American sports. Good for them. Broke it on a Cal Raleigh big dumper walk-off home run against Domingo Acevedo. Bottom of the ninth, 3-2 count. Amazing scenes. Can he do it again? Let's start with the offense. Offense, I don't think is that good, to be honest. Like, Eugenio Suarez, let's start with him. Bounced back year last year, but I don't know if he can do it again. Like, he's very inconsistent as a player. Cal Raleigh's like a Mike Zunino. He'll hit home runs, but he won't hit for anything else. Ty France, solid hitter. He's a really good hitter, actually. Colin Wong, not a good hitter. JP Crawford, not a good hitter. Jared Kelenic, what are we doing here? Julio, elite player. And same with Teoscar Hernandez, elite bat. And DH is AJ Pollock, who had a really bad year last season. So not much to like on the offense side. But starting pitchers, it's really good. It's a really good rotation. Castillo and Kirby are both aces in my opinion. Kirby more of a number 2. Gilbert and Ray, both really good pitchers as well. Marco Gonzalez, not that good at all. No depth really behind those 5. But
Gonzalez or Flexen?
It's Marco. No, it's gonna be Marco. Marco Gonzalez had he was like one of the luckiest pitchers in baseball last year. He had a 4.13 ERA, but his xFIP was like 4.9. And then the bullpen, one of the best in baseball. Seawald has been elite for the past 2 seasons now. Munoz throws 100 with his hard-breaking ball, elite reliever.
Easy.
Matt Brash, elite reliever. Well, not elite reliever yet, but elite stuff. Penn Murphy, Diego Castillo. They have really good relievers, so this should be a good bullpen. And that's my thoughts on the Mariners so far.
So I think the points are valid. The offense is a bit of concern, but they have some core pieces. Julio, of course. We're looking at Julio, 5.9 slug. You said Ty France is a very good hitter. Eugenio Suarez, I do think he can repeat performance. 31 home runs last year. And, they're going to count on him. He's going to have to play well. Cal Raleigh is, you said it, never going to really be a high average, high on base guy. But 27 home runs, the power will be there. And from a catcher, I'll take it. Fine. Dylan Moore had a solid year. I thought it was fine. And then you're adding Teoscar Hernandez. And I think that's the real separator. That was a terrific trade for the Mariners. It's not going to be enough to make them an elite offense, but I think it's enough to make it where, yeah, I believe in this team. So, Teoscar Hernandez had an 867 OPS since June 1st, which was when he was healthy last season. 16% barrel rate. Just he's a very solid player, underrated. And then they also got Colton Wong. Not my favorite deal. That got them rid of Jesse Winker, who if you're asking me, Mariners got to compete. Who do you want on your team? I want Jesse Winker. I don't want Colton Wong. But that's fine. He'll get on base. He'll use the whole field. But really pretty average player. But you're looking at those guys, and you're going to need A.J. Pollock to step up and have a good year. So, yeah, there's some other holes in this lineup. But you got some core pieces to get production out of. The drought isn't looming over them anymore, which we said, which I think is good mentally for this team. And then pitching-wise, you said it. This pitching staff is excellent. Starts with Castillo. I'm not even going to talk about him. He's just very good. Excellent. One of my favorite pitchers in baseball. And then we're looking at Kirby. I know you picked Kirby as your dark horse. Was it your dark? Yeah, your dark horse, Cy Young. And he's strike thrower right there. 3.4 ERA last year. Not really a high spin rate guy, but, this stuff is ticked up. But what concerns me about him a little bit is only 15th percentile in whiff, 22nd percentile in barrel rate. So, last season, guys were kind of on him a little bit, but not a big concern. He was only a rookie. He'll figure it out. And this stuff is good enough where I believe in him. 6 different pitches. So I don't know if that's going to stay the same this season, but that was interesting for me. And then a guy I really like is Gilbert. He's a hard thrower. He's a big guy. And, this offseason he added the splitter, which is going to replace his changeup, which was atrocious. So he'll be better against right-handed hitters, I believe, this season. And then Robbie Ray.
He has amazing extension too, Gilbert.
Yes. Big guy. And then Robbie Ray also had a splitter. I guess the whole Mariners staff is experimenting with that. 3.7 ERA, and that was in a down year. And I'm not the biggest Robbie Ray guy, but if he's your 4, that's very solid. And he's probably, maybe you say he's the 3 and Gilbert's the 4, whichever way it is, those are 4 extremely solid pitchers. Still gets a high K rate, 80th percentile whiff, so you're looking good there. And then whoever it is, the 5 will not be very strong. Marco Gonzalez, Chris Flexen, I guess it will be Marco Gonzalez. But I'll take it if those 4 are going to be the 4 they are. And then we said the bullpen, this is an elite bullpen. These guys in the bullpen are tremendous. Starts with Seawald as the closer, but he's not even the best guy. Munoz is really excellent. Yeah. And then Matt Brash, you said it. His slider is one of the dirtiest pitches I've ever seen. That is insane. And then Castillo, Penn Murphy, these guys in that Mariners bullpen are lights out. And it amazes me that they're only 6th best in bullpen ERA last year. But it's the same formula, same with the Orioles and the Guardians. This team is built around the bullpen. You pitch close enough to stay in the games. The offense is good enough. You hand it off to the bullpen where it seals off the game. Once it's the bullpen, it's sealing off the game, allowing you to come back in games and lock down games you're in the lead. 14 wins over in bullpen record. So we know how this team is built. But like you said, you question if there's enough offensively. They're losing Winker. They're losing Mitch Haniger. Mitch Haniger is a really solid player. Losing Carlos Santana, Adam Frazier. So will they be able to make that up? I'm not sure. That's the concern for me, like it is for you. And so we'll see how the Mariners turn out this year.
Yeah, the offense is my biggest concern. Winker had a down year last year, but he was still league average bad. Lost Frazier, Santana, solid hitters. That's my biggest concern with them being a playoff team or not is the offense. That's the difference maker. I don't know if they have enough offensively to make the playoffs, but we'll see. We'll see what I say later on. Let's move on to the last team. The Texas Rangers. Obviously, you want to start, actually? Let's start.
So I'll let you. But Rangers had a big offseason, one of the best offseasons in baseball, in my opinion. Adding DeGrom is excellent for this team. This team has a solid offense. The pitching is really lackluster. So you add DeGrom, immediately you add the best pitcher in baseball, or maybe if you're thinking Alcantara, Burns, whoever, you're adding a top 3 pitcher by far. The injuries are a concern, though. So, you're just praying DeGrom stays healthy if you're a Rangers fan. But it's not just DeGrom. You add Evaldi. Evaldi is very good in my opinion. And then you add also the Heen dog, Andrew Heaney. So I'm not a big Heaney guy, but MLB pitcher, he'll be better than some of those other guys that Rangers rotation last year. And then you re-sign Martin Perez, qualifying offer. I'm surprised he took it, but good for the Rangers. And the Rangers did not lose much at all in their offseason. They lost Matt Moore. That's probably the biggest loss. He was in the bullpen. So we look at this offense, 8th most home runs, 128 stolen bases. That led the league. And that should maintain at least Garcia, other guys. 10th in hard hit percentage. So they're showing improvement in these offensive statistics. And then you're looking who's contributing. And people forget about this guy, Rangers now. Corey Seager is a big offensive contributor. He's going to have a monster year. And then you also have Marcus Semien, Adolis Garcia, of course, very good. 456 slug, 27 home runs. He does strike out an insane amount, but it's okay. Not okay, but it's fine. And then Nathaniel Lowe, 492 slug, 27 home runs. So there are pieces around this offense that will be solid for them to build around. And then Josh Jung, I'm excited for that. Full season of Josh Jung. So that's offensively. And I think they're not going to be top 5, probably not top, maybe they're top 10 offensively, but they'll hang in there. They'll do what they have to do. We're looking at the arms. I said DeGrom, I said Evaldi, and then Heaney. Heaney, 3.1 ERA last year. Of course, he's a Dodger, has the most ridiculous season. First, but the issue for me, despite the fact he was 97th percentile on K rate, he had a high spin rate. That looks good. But he was only the 1st percentile in hard hit rate. You know how bad that is? Like, 1st percentile on hard hit rate. So I have major concerns. I'd never liked Andrew Heaney. I know he put up a good year last year, but I have major concerns if this is repeatable for him. I kind of think he blows up, but even if Heaney blows up in your face, DeGrom and Evaldi paired with John Gray and Martin Perez should be a big improvement for the Rangers starting pitching, which was 6th worst last year. They had the 2nd most walks, which was a major problem. John Gray is a solid 3.4 in the rotation, 3.9 ERA. Martin Perez, 2.9 ERA, extremely good season last year. 92nd percentile in barrel rate, so he's keeping guys off the barrel. But I'm wondering, is that sustainable? Because he's had an ERA of 4 or higher in each of the past 7 seasons. So, besides last season, I'm saying. So, is that sustainable? You know, I don't know. But it's the Rangers made moves where I think they're going to be more competitive, which is what you want to see. So, I like that. And then the concern for me, along with maybe injuries in starting rotation and some of that other problems with if the 5th guy is Dane Dunning, I think that's a problem. Another Heaney maybe. The issue for me is the bullpen. It's very middle of the pack. They have some guys that I like, Spores among others, but this team needs to really click on all cylinders to have a good enough year where they're competitive, playoff competitive. I think it'll be a big improvement this year over last year, but definitely have some concerns.
Like you said, the rotation, they really upgraded this offseason. It's the best part of their team, in my opinion. They have 5 MLB starters. He's going to be inconsistent, but he'll post good strikeout numbers. He won't walk many people. He'll give home runs. But DeGrom, best pitcher in baseball when healthy. Evaldi, a number 2 when healthy. John Gray, Martin Perez, really good pitchers. Bullpen, Brock Burke is one of my favorite relievers in baseball. So underrated. Has such a good year last year. 1.97 ERA over 82.1 innings. And even if DeGrom gets hurt or Heaney blows up, Donnie and Odorizzi are MLB pitchers to in the as good depth. Offense, it's gonna be solid offense. Seager is I think he's gonna have a monster year this year. Sure, he underperformed his xWOBA, xSlug, all of those numbers by a lot. Semien is gonna be solid. He's gonna play every day. He'll probably have a 4.0 F4 when it's all said and done. Adolis Garcia strikes out a lot, low average, doesn't walk much, insane power, and also elite defense at right, and absolute cannon in the field. Tavares, good defender, not good bat. Grossman, solid bat. Josh Jung, rookie of the year, candidate. Nathaniel Lowe had a really underrated year last year that people don't talk about enough. And same with Jonah Heim. So Jonah Heim had a league average 99 WRC plus Jonah Heim, but he was one of the best defenders in baseball as a catcher. He really slowed down a lot in the second half of the year, but if he can repeat his first half, the Jonah Heim, he's a top 5 catcher in my opinion. And Daniel Lowe, 143 WRC plus last year. He was one of the best first basemen in baseball last year in terms of hitting, and he's like an elite. I wouldn't say elite bat yet. He'll have to do it again, but he was the best hitter on the team last year, so I'm excited to see what he can do again. So yeah, Rangers made a lot of big moves this offseason, and I think they're gonna be like a 500 team in my opinion, which is pretty good.
Well, yeah, 500 would be a huge improvement over the 68 win season they had last year. One more thing I want to say about the Rangers is last year they were actually 15-35 in one-run games, so 20 under. I bet this is impossible for them to repeat. There's no way they're this bad in one-run games again. They will be better because the pitching is better, and that's how one-run games are decided for the most part. With this improved pitching, there's no way, even if they're under 500 one-run games, they won't be 20 under one-run games. For me, that's a huge reason on why they'll be improved this year, along with all the other factors we said, like those big free agents and this team. So, if you're a Rangers fan, there's a lot to be excited about. You will be competitive. You have a chance at the postseason. So definitely there are a couple issues that you're a little concerned about. But if I'm a Rangers fan, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the season, and I think I have a chance.
Yeah, obviously injuries can go wrong for them. The Grom made of glass. Heaney was injured for a lot last year. Avali was injured too. John Gray's injury prone. The entire rotation's injury prone, besides Perez. So a lot of things can go wrong, but if everything goes right, this can definitely be a playoff team, in my opinion. But that's just the question. Can they stay healthy, and can players perform like they did last year, like Nathaniel Lowe, for example? All right, should we move on to our AL West predictions?
Yeah, let's go.
I didn't come up with our records, but like we can post them on IG.
Records on Humbabe on IG. Just like we didn't do records for the Central either. We'll get those out on the pod, on the IG. But let's go. Let's for your AL West.
Let's start at the bottom. I'm sure we both agree.
Gotta be
Athletics.
Yeah.
No explanation needed for that. Okay. Fourth, what do you got?
I think we're gonna disagree here. I'm going Angels are fourth for me. I don't believe in them. I think that they always find ways to screw up their season. I can't believe in them, and I don't trust the pitching enough. Angels are fourth for me.
I'm going to the Rangers. I really like the moves they made this offseason, but I think it's still a year too early for them. Also, there's too many concerns in the rotation, no matter how good it is. I feel like a couple people are going to go down, and it's going to be a concern. And also, there are a lot of things has to go right for the Rangers, and they're very reliant on Seager, Semien, and Lowe to produce their offense. So yeah, I'm going Rangers, but I think they can be a 500 team. So I don't hate the Rangers, but like I just think the other teams in the division are better. Third, who do we got?
So third, I'm going Rangers. The concerns you brought up are legitimate, but for me, they have to be better than the Angels.
For third, hot take, I'm going Mariners. I don't know if they have enough offense over a full season. That's a hot take. Like Kelenic at left, Crawford at short, Wong at second, Raleigh at catcher, Pollock at DH. Like, there's just not enough good hitters for like a team that should finish second in AL West and potentially wild card, in my opinion. And you think Suarez at 131 WSC plus last year, I don't think he does it again. I think he's gonna have more of a 110, 100-ish kind of season. And Ty France, so like he's a first baseman. He's a good hitter, but he doesn't have much power, Ty France. And he doesn't hit the ball that hard for first baseman. So I can see some regression there. So even though the pitching is elite, in my opinion, rotation and bullpen, I don't know if the offense is good enough for me, which is why the third.
So second. You just said them. Of course, Astros are first. So the only other team, Mariners are second for me. You brought up some concerns. The offense, there's concerns, but the pitching, when there's something kind of iffy, I always look pitching. The pitching is really good. Pitching wins you games for me. I'm going Mariners second. I think they'll have another solid season. They're two for me.
My number 2 team, the Angels. I think both Trout and Ohtani are going to make the playoffs this year, along with the rest of the team. I mean, the offense is obviously it's going to be relying on Trout and Ohtani, but they have good hitters in this lineup. Taylor Ward, elite hitter in my opinion. Hunter Renfroe, 120 WRC plus bat. Rendon, maybe not an elite bat at this stage of his career, but still above average. Hop, going to be good. Jared Walsh, Rengifo, both solid bats in my opinion. And the pitching's really underrated in my opinion. I really like Demers and Sandoval repeating the years that they had last year, if not improving. And it's just a solid starter. Ohtani's the ace, obviously. My biggest question mark is the bullpen. The bullpen's pretty bad. But I think both Trout and Ohtani know that it's going to be their last year together. And I think they're going to do everything they can to try to make the playoffs. And during the deadline, if the Angels are like either occupying a wild card spot or like a couple games back, I think the Angels are going to make like an all-in move to try to win in Ohtani's last year, most likely for this squad. So I think they're going to finish second.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. There's no way the Angels finish second in this division. The Angels are not a second-place team. I know you're big on the whole Trout Ohtani final year. They're going to get it done. How many years have we been saying that? Oh, Trout Ohtani, Trout's finally going to make the play. No, they never do it. They always fall apart. They're just a disaster. Like they're like the Mets team. They always find ways to screw things up. They fuck it up always. There's problems stemming in ownership. Art Moreno, tell the team, buddy. Like the Angels cannot be the second-place team. Like, it can't happen for me. And then, of course, we agree there's no other choice other than the Houston Astros. This team is unbelievable. This team is stacked. This team is ridiculous.
There's not much to be said. This team is a well-oiled machine. They're going to win the division again pretty easily, in my opinion. Adding Brady, one of the top five first basemen in baseball, to replace Gurriel, Mancini, like incredible. Verlander, like losing a Cy Young winner would hurt for so many teams, but it won't hurt the Astros. They're not gonna miss him that much. So yeah, those are our AL West predictions for 2023 season. And that's our breakdown for all the teams. So what's next week, Sam? What's going on?
So next week I'm fired up because we're gonna have I'm fired up because next week we go NL East. We get to the National League, and we're gonna have a guest. I'm super excited for it. I won't say. We'll keep it a surprise, but we're gonna have a college, a D1 college baseball pitcher coming on to talk NL East with us, and I'll ask him some questions about how his season is going. And I'm fired up to talk to NL East. The NL East is a very good division. A lot of cool teams to talk about. So
a lot of moves made in that division. Just to spoil some, Turner to the Phillies. You got Verlander to the Mets. A lot of big moves in that division. All right, so that's it for episode 5 of Humbabe Pod. We'll see you guys next week.
Keep humming, Ben.
Keep humming.